The LA Kings only drafted 4 times this year, but all in all, I think they did pretty well, all things considered. To kick things off at 26th overall, they drafted my 24th ranked player in Liam Greentree. Now, Greentree, I think, had a bit of an up and down season, but the potential in his game is absolutely undeniable. The hands, the shot, the creativity under pressure. There's just so many projectable NHL tools, much the same way that you see with a player like, say, Matt Nyes with Toronto in Greentree, that I just could not ignore all season long. He's a player that I think will only be as good as his skating improves from here. He does seem to have problems generating some separation space through his feet, and he does get closed out in transition a little bit too often and really relies on thinking on the fly a little bit too much, but he does that really, really well, so maybe it all works out anyway. And at 26th overall, I think he was one of the highest upside picks at that point, especially when you see how NHL offenses work. At 57th, they drafted Carter George, a guy that everybody seems to love that plays goaltender. I've seen him a few times this year. I watched him at the under-18s, and I think he did really well in that tournament, and all in all, he's a solid goaltender. We'll see what happens with him. His deeper metrics didn't look as favorable, and I might not have gone this direction this early in the draft with your second selection, but goalie people seem to really like him, and if he turns out to be the goalie of the future in the LA system, great. The Kings then took over 100 picks off and took Jared Woolley of the London Knights, and I've checked in on this guy a little bit here and there, and to be perfectly honest, I do kind of like this pick. He played a little bit of the season in the GOJHL this season, and I saw a few games there, and he looked really, really good at that level. And at the OHL level, I do think there's a certain level of skill, a pretty good shot from the point. With more and more ice time in London as players ahead of him graduate to pro hockey, maybe there could be something here. I was pleasantly surprised to see him drafted, and I was pleasantly surprised to see London pick him. I think long term, he's a pretty good bet. And to close their draft at 198th, they drafted the point per game wonder of the USHL that I personally couldn't really explain in James Reeder. Now, this might be just an upside pick based on production alone. He was one of the oldest first-time eligibles in this year's draft, and going back to last year watching him, I think he's just one of those guys that is a bit more skilled and a bit smarter and a bit more adaptive on the fly than the vast majority of USHL players, and played on a pretty good offensive team in Dubuque, and just kind of benefited from that environment a little bit, because I didn't really see anything that jumped out at me about James Reeder, but hey, he's a smart player, he's got some good tools to him as well, just nothing that really blew me away enough to really put him on my list. But on 198th, yeah, it's a decent swing to take, and I bet you that worse players went off the board well before 198. So I'm going to remind you quickly that the ratings I give to NHL teams here are generally based around the context with which they have picks. And I think for the LA Kings, considering they drafted twice in the first 2 rounds and then disappeared until the end of the draft, I think did really well with their picks, so I'm giving them a 1D. I think Liam Greentree would have been very, very, very close to the top of my list at 26, and if people really wanted him and I worked for the Kings, I would not say no. Carter George, I have to plead a little bit of ignorance about it. He's a goaltender. I've liked what I've seen. There were players I thought that were better options there, that were skaters, but if Carter George is as good as advertised and you get a goalie in the late second round, dandy. Jared Woolley to me is an interesting curiosity that I think is worth betting on in that range of the draft. And James Reeder is a bit of a mystery box to me. I'm not exactly sure what his role is at the next level, but he does bring enough to be at least productive at this level, and you leave him in college for a while and you never know. Maybe the tools will evolve and he'll become a really interesting pick at this slot. So that's it for our report on the LA Kings. If you liked the video, check our description box for our Fanatics affiliate link, where anything you buy in the store will give us a small kickback, or go to Scouching.ca, where a subscription will get you access to a private Discord server, as well as tons of data tables for drafted and undrafted prospects, and plenty of other cool stuff you can check out on that site. And with that, we move on to the Washington Capitals.